I can't escape, man. They're everywhere. They got Ryder, they got Gold, they even got Javi. Even my brother has been attacked by them. This isn't good. This is bad. Really bad. No! No! Get away! Get back, you damn simps! You savages! No! No! I will not be changed! Well, it wasn't a zombie apocalypse, but it might as well have been. VTubers! They're fucking everywhere. Back in the old days of YouTube, many would never even begin to imagine the thought of VTubing ever being a concept. Starting with the VTuber named Kizuna Ai, she was the first individual who started the VTubing craze in late November of 2016. After this, many people would join in the craze, creating their own characters, backgrounds, lore, and even their own agencies, such as the topic of today's video, HoloLive. This industry is the one that most people know about due to them having big stars like Tokino Sora, Shirakama Fubuki, Inugami Korone, Okami Mio, Kureiji Ali, and the Maniac Gamer's VTuber crush Garger. I see you. When you think VTubers, these are usually the ones most people think of, and HoloLive is usually the one that most people think about whenever an agency is brought up. And the ones I named aren't even a quarter of all the VTubers that are part of that agency. So many people clamor and support these VTubers, with others looking to reach their own heights, either through an agency or through their own means. With so many fans, many things seen as labors of love are created. Of course, such as fan art, fan comics, animations, merchandise, cosplays, and of course, video games. Funnily enough, most of these games can be found on Steam, with the good majority of them being completely free. Many folks have already sung their praises about these games, and honestly, I never saw the same. Now look, I'm not going to say that any of these people have wrong opinions, but to be honest, I don't have a favorite VTuber, nor do I really follow any of them, or really watch their content, so to speak. Nothing against them, I've just never been someone who cared too much about the whole craze, the old thing that all you little youngsters are into. I say that as if I'm like 45, I'm only 23. In fact, the furthest I've ever gotten is a PNG tuber, mostly because getting a VTuber of that magnitude is flippin' expensive. And as a person who has a good assortment of bills, I really don't have the ability nor the means to make that happen at this point. Props to those who can, but I really am not too into it as, well, these type of people. However, I have to treat these games fairly, so I'm gonna play these games first, and then judge them. Who knows? Maybe they're pretty good. Or maybe they're not. I don't know. With VTubers, they'll say anything from a VTuber is good. So with that being said, gather around, you shrimps, because we're going in for the long ride. That one was for you, Gabriel. Yeah, I know you're watching. You damn shark simp. First game we're gonna look at is the game called Hollow Break. Hollow X Break? Is this the same shit with Hunter x Hunter? Or is it Hunter x Hunter? I really don't know. This game is a 2D sprite-based beat-em-up, similar to games like Scott Pilgrim, Streets of Rage, and Phantom Breakers. Y'all don't know what Phantom Breakers is, but we're not gonna get into that one today. In this one, you and a group of 3 friends team up to take down the secret society known as Hollow X, and keep them from taking over the world. A simple story for a simple game. Perfect, I can get behind that. I played Streets of Rage 2 as a kid. At the start, you have 4 characters to choose from, each one having their own stats and playstyles. Amuro Polka is the balanced melee fighter who most people usually would play with, due to her being a simple character to grasp. Shishiro Botan is a ranged character who specializes in combat from afar. Yukihana Lami is more defensive with the ability to slow and freeze enemies. And Momosuzu Nene, who is a healer type character. I cannot believe I said all those names on the first try. Each character has a dodge, a combo, and different special abilities and moves that you can unlock as you progress through the game. As you fight enemies, you'll gain EXP and money, as well as equipable items that can make you stronger and give passive abilities. There's even a mechanic where you can find these helpers who are tied up and have them fight for you. Get to the end of the stage, and you'll find one of the HoloX bosses at the end. These guys can be pretty challenging, but if you respect their patterns and moves, you'll be just fine. And that's about it. Of course, after you beat a stage, you'll be in this little hub area where you can buy more equipment, buy items, so on and so forth. The game is a fairly simple one, in all honesty. There's no jumping mechanics, so there's no platforming or anything, and the levels basically boil down to just moving to the right, fighting some enemies, moving again, fighting more enemies, going all the way to the edge of the screen, rinse and repeat until you beat the boss. There aren't really any gameplay shakeups from what I have seen. I played all the way to level 2, and I kinda gave up afterwards. With nothing much else to do in the game, I just didn't really see much of a reason to beat it. That's not to say the game is bad though. I actually like the character art, and the sprites look adorable as hell. And the enemies, though being the same dude, each do have some sort of difference to their fighting styles and looks, depending on the area that you're in. The art direction was a stellar one, to which I had no problem with at all. The music was also pretty good, with that unusual chiptune vibe that you would usually hear. However, there are a couple of problems I had with this title. For one, the game can kind of feel monotonous at times. With there not being too many shakeups to the game, it can kind of drain your interest, especially when you're playing alone. With the lack of platforming and set pieces, it really makes the game lack staying power or replayability. Another thing is that the game only has one save slot, so you can't have multiple saves. Now, this wouldn't be too much of a problem on its own, but it becomes a problem when you realize something. You can't drop in and drop out your friends. I had my sister try out the game with me for a bit of time, and color me surprised when I saw that I could only play a single player run without having her around. So, I had to delete my save and make a new one to allow my sister to play. Now you may be wondering why I don't have any of that footage showing. That's because while getting it, the game crashed and the PC restarted. Apparently afterwards it was saying I had a malware, to which I deleted just in time. Now I'm not sure if this game was the reason for this, but I would still be careful with this thing if it really was the reason for this mishap. I'm not 100% sure, but just be careful. Other than all of that, the game is a pretty solid one. Though it has the issue of being monotonous when you get to a point, you at least can unlock all of the HoloX cast when you beat the game. Or at least that's what it says on the wiki. That's 5 extra characters right there with different movesets. If only the game wasn't just a walking ride simulator. Regardless, the game does have some staying power, especially if you have some friends who are willing and able to play the game with you. Make jokes, talk shit, and beat ass. That's the best way to play the game. Have you ever wondered what would happen if Corona and Pecora got into a fight? Well, why wonder when you could just make them fight? Next game we have is the game called Idol Showdown. This here is a 2D sprite-based fighting game, much akin to your Street Fighter 2s and your Guilty Gears. Now, I'm no slouch when it comes to fighting games. Me being a person that's only won one tournament of Smash Brothers, so I know when one feels good or not. Even though I haven't really gotten up on the leaderboard in Street Fighter 6 at all. And holy shit, this game actually feels amazing! The buttons are responsive, the movement is fluid, combos can be chained and extended, you have the burst mechanics and the assist mechanics, also known as collab moves, and you even have super special moves? Oh, they really did their homework. Each character even feels so distinct with one another, there being 10 of them. We have Fubuki, Susue, Ali, Aki, Coco, Pecora, Botan, Ayami, Sora, and Korone. And that's not even going into all the collabs like Amelia Watson and Okami Mio. There's no shortage of characters in this game, playable or non-playable, so you can mix and match your preferred duo. Now, as I mentioned before about the controls, the game feels fluid and fun to play, with amazing animations to boot. As of this point, the 2 characters I play the most are Botan and Ali, with Korone being my main. I clicked Korone at the end because I was really curious, and yeah, so I guess I really have 3 characters I play. Okay, so that's grab. Alright, I think I just found my character. Literally, Korome grabs you, throws you up, and hits you with a baseball bat. I'll take it. The movement feels nice and responsive. Combos are nice and punchy, and the button layout is very similar to Marvel vs. Capcom and the Guilty Gear series. Not only that, but the mechanics are beginner friendly, with combos being simple for most to understand, but they're also being technicality with it, mostly with how to chain combos together. Multiple folks can get into this game, and there's honestly plenty to do. You have your standard shit, arcade, training, tutorial, versus mode, and then we have Virtual Frontier, which is basically a roguelike within the game. I got through level 1, and then died. I blame my mother for that. Regardless, this is another pretty good way to train up and lab your combos, especially when you have to deal with Error Sora. She fucked my shit up a bit in Corona's story mode, or arcade mode, whatever you want to call it. I'm dead! What? I died to chip! There's chip damage in this game? Oh my god, I got grabbed! That killed me! What crap was that?
See you next time!
What crap was that? What was that? So this is what they mean by classic mode, huh? What? Hit me!
See you next stream!
How did she get out of my combo? My sister and I played a bit of this game, and frankly, I can see this game being one that folks will remember fondly. I say that even though there is barely anyone who's playing online. I tried out an online match and color me surprised when I saw that almost absolutely no one was playing on the servers. Just my luck, this guy was a fucking Evo level player who basically TOD'd me. That's touch of death to all you people that aren't too familiar with Dragon Ball Fighters. God! Ah! Ow! What is this combo? Jesus! Ah! Ah! I just wasted strong burst! And I'm dead. Is that why nobody plays online in this game? It's a shame that this game's online community isn't super large, because this game does seem like a fun one. Maybe if it receives another push or another version with extra characters, then it could get another chance at being in the spotlight. Regardless of the online community though, I may continue playing this game in my free time, since it's so well done. Give this one a shot. It's not only fun, but it's also free. So why wouldn't you at that point? I'm gonna be honest with you. Corona is a kinda cute VTuber. Pretty sure it's just because of the fact that she likes Sonic, and I like Sonic, she likes Mario, and I like Mario, she has a chainsaw apparently, and I like Chainsaw Man. So why not make a little game with Corona at the forefront? And that is what was done with the game Wow 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 Corons Box. This title is an endless top-down shooter where you're tasked with taking down multiple enemies with different weapons that you can pick up. You do that by grabbing these boxes that'll give you a random weapon. The more boxes you pick up, the higher your score. And after attaining a certain amount of boxes, a boss will appear that you'll have to kill. You keep going until you die, and depending on how many boxes you have accumulated over the course of your runs, you can potentially unlock more guns and weapons. And that's the whole game, rinse and repeat. It's obvious to see that this is more of a micro game than a full-fledged game, like the others we looked at. If you thought that this was a game on the App Store, I wouldn't blame you. That's not to say the game is bad though. It can be pretty addicting to try and beat your high score, and with there being 2 difficulty settings, you can also challenge yourself with hard difficulty. The thing is, once you unlock all the weapons, there's not much else reason to play the game besides beating your high score, so if you're not into games like Galaga or the original Donkey Kong, then this game isn't really going to have staying power for you. Nevertheless, this is still a decently made micro game with multiple weapons, 3 courses, a hard mode, and an endless amount of high score based fun for the player to enjoy. Plus, if you like Corona, well, you have plenty of her to go around. Not to mention, this is also free, so, I mean, if you need something. Alright, so remember Corons Box? The top-down shooter? Yeah, of course you do. We just talked about that. Okay, so what if we took that, but made it into a larger scaled game with more characters, more weapons, and more things to unlock? Well, then you get the game HoloCure. HoloCure is a top-down bullet hell shooter where you're tasked with completing each level by shooting up as many enemies you see, collect items that can give you passive buffs, and also secondary attacks if you get lucky, or even allow you to heal. The more enemies you kill, the more EXP you earn, which allows you to level up your stats. After a while of shooting and running around, 20 minutes to be precise, the boss shows up. I did not beat the boss. Not because the boss was hard per se, but because the amount of enemies in this game are just so damn massive. I swear, I thought the frames were gonna drop with how many enemies were there. And to make matters worse, they shielded the boss from my bullets, making it impossible to kill. And then I died. Not to worry, we can just continue. Items. I have to start over. Nope. Let's take a look at the shop instead. With the coins that you earn in this game, you're able to use it in the shop to upgrade your base stats at the start. Get new items and abilities, and of course, you can unlock new characters. And I got your pull system. Now, before you go throwing your chairs out the window like a buff pup fan when their chat message isn't read, there are no microtransactions in this game, only the in-game currency. So you won't have to worry about shilling a good $100 for even a chance to unlock your waifu. I'm looking at you, Mario Kart Tour, you and your stupid game. Not only that, but the game gives you a good amount of currency per run. Do good in the game, and you get more coins. And to my knowledge, I don't believe that you can get duplicates of other characters, so you don't have to worry about that problem. All in all, the game is a decent title. There are a bunch of characters to unlock, a gameplay loop that is endless, and the difference in characters aren't bad at all. I can highly suggest this one. Funny how most of the games I could suggest in this list are, they were all made by the same person. This guy must be a real super fan or something, I don't know. Regardless, he does a good job. Okay, we now have one more title to look at, a game that was released this year in April. This time, we have a visual novel. The sheer amount of people who desired for something like this to happen was plentiful. I mean, if it's a visual novel game, then that had to mean that there would be dating sim mechanics involved, if not at the very least a friend sim. This would have to go down in history as one of the most HoloLive games ever made. I've heard bigger lies than that. The final game in our list is called Days with Ollie, a visual novel. Okay, this game starts off in Indonesian. That's fine, we can just change the settings and then jump in. This is called foreshadowing, everyone. So the plot of this game is that we are a nameless Joe who has an interview to be Ollie's reporter. We start off getting ourselves ready, and a little kid and his mother are talking shit to us. It's here that we have our first choice. Now, any sort of person would just ignore them, so that's what we do. We lean on a tree, ignore them, and then it turns out that the tree is synthetic and was just painted, which ruins our clothes. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, I guess that was the wrong answer, so instead we choose to walk up to the person and calmly talk to the kid. We offer him some candy, and then we get arrested under the assumption we're a kidnapper. What is this game? So instead, we talk to the mother and yell at her before leaving and heading to an intersection. So we take the road going through the fruit market. We then get excited seeing a banana, and then we slip. And then we pass out. What? Am I stupid? Okay. We instead take the dangerous road and make it to a tunnel where we pass through, only to run into aliens and get abducted. Okay, that's it! What the fuck is this game? This feels like a game of just trial and error. There are no routes. All of them just lead me to death. I'm not gonna lie, I could not finish this one. And you wanna know why? Because this game is the definition of Russian roulette. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I got about an hour and a half in, and I just could not stand it. This game only has one route that you can take, and choosing any option that isn't the right answer that the game chooses for you ends with an automatic game over. Educated guesses don't work here, because even when you try to be smart and try to be a normal human being, you either end up doing something stupid or you're misinterpreted. Over and over and over again, I was saving and loading at each question, and to make matters worse, sometimes the answer you choose may seem like the correct one, but in actuality leads you to just 3 whole incorrect ones. Now this in itself is not super problematic. Yes, it's annoying as hell, but it's not game breaking. As long as there aren't any bugs, then it's at least a solid game. What? So there are moments where the dialogue is not translated from Indonesian to English. Okay, well, as long as the answers aren't— oh, come on! Start tomorrow? How am I supposed to know? What question? No, this is bad, because now the freaking answers are in Indonesian. What am I supposed to do? Even the answers aren't translated! I thought it was just gonna be one time, but it was actually multiple times where the answers were translated back to back! How am I supposed to play this game when it's become even more like a Russian roulette? Now I can't even make an educated guess! I'm sorry, I can't do it. This game is not cheap! Now, to be fair, if this game was played by someone fluent in Indonesian, then maybe it would at least be playable. But right now, this game is just abysmal. There was even a glitch where a question came up, but if you don't click an answer, the dialogue just keeps going as if you chose the wrong one, and then you game over! What? That's a weird glitch. Like, how was I supposed to know that was gonna happen? Now, my anger isn't directed at Ollie herself. I'm very sure that she wanted the game to be great, and 9 times out of 10, HoloLive themselves were the ones who made it, not Ollie herself. Because I'm certain that she would put more time and effort into this creation. And who knows, maybe she didn't even know this game was being made. But right now, this game is just a game of constant trial and error, translation bugs, and even gameplay bugs as well. Maybe the story gets better, but I really can't gel with this main protagonist at all. They're just so stupid at times and just annoying. Like, it's like they're just that whiny anime character that never has any character development and just stays childish throughout the entirety of the series. There's a chance they do grow a bit as the story goes on, but I just could not push myself to play this game a literal chance. It's a damn shame because the music is decent, the art is gorgeous at times, and the concept is a great one. But the game feels rushed, untested, and it's just not fun! At the very least, the game is free like the rest of— $7?! They expect you to pay $7 for this trash! I could get the first and second chapter of The Crown of Leaves for that money, and there's more gameplay in that game! I could get HoloCure for free, and that game doesn't feel as unfinished as this one is. I'd rather play any horror game and any rage game back to back, play them all for a week straight, than pay actual money for this. Which apparently I lied because I actually paid for this game. This is just a scam at this point. Why would you put out a game that isn't set as early access for profit when your game isn't finished? It just feels like a lie, and like I've been, it's like my money's just been stolen. I feel like an early 2016 Sonic fan, where the only time we got good games was when the fans made them. Even with the amazing artwork in this game and the great concept, there is literally no way I could recommend this game to fans of Ollie, or to people who want to play a visual novel. With any hope, they'll come back and fix it, but I honestly feel like the damage has already been done. And that was just the tip of the iceberg where HoloLive games are concerned. There are a multitude of other projects that are being worked on, and even some collabs with other games that these HoloLive stars find themselves in. Hell, even Corone found herself in a collaboration with Sonic Frontiers, which was a Japan exclusive to my knowledge. I'm fairly certain that it was like a costume that Sonic could wear. These VTubers have gotten far in their work and have touched many fans' hearts, and it shows in many of the games that were released to the public. With any hope, we may be able to see some even larger titles and games that could reach further notoriety. Only time will tell where this is concerned. As long as the games aren't freaking A Day with Ollie, that game is garbage! I swear to God though, some VTuber fans can be the craziest individuals. Like, crap man, touch grass! I mean, I may be a furry, but at least I don't have a problem with going outside. You know, that grass looks a little sharp. Maybe I'll touch it tomorrow. She's a